Hi, my name is Kyuri, and welcome to the 30-minute yoga series. Today, our focus is going to be on our hips, so roll out your mat, grab a couple blocks, and we'll get started. We're going to start in our child's pose today. So if you'd like to utilize the blocks, the best place to put them is place them right at the flattest position in right underneath your hips. If you feel like you don't need the blocks, you don't have to use them. It's not mandatory at all. But if you do need a little bit of that hip support, it is good to have your knees nice and wide onto your mat, gently bring your toes together behind you, and then slowly start to sit your hips back until they rest onto the block. So you might have to adjust the block's placement depending on how flexible you are. Once you have that, extend the arms forward, rest your forehead all the way down, and then just take a couple of deep breaths to start. The hips are our emotional centers. It does have a tendency to carry a lot of our emotional stress. So know that if you do have tension there, it might be a bit of flexibility, but it could also be because of emotional tension. So as you take your deep inhales and exhales here, try to focus on whatever emotional tension that you might be carrying today or even this week. And we'll try to release that during our session today. So again, take a nice big breath in, fill yourself up with everything that you might need, followed by a nice long exhale as you let it all go. We'll take 2 more breaths just like that. Inhale and exhale. Last one, inhale here, and then exhale, let it go. Really good. We'll start gently by taking your hands and then tenting up onto your fingertips, gently lifting your head up off the mat, and then slowly walk your hands over to the right hand side of your mat. So I want you to think about reaching forward as long as you can, as you reach over, so that you're not just compressing into your right side, and then really pull back with your left hips to be grounded through that side, so your left arm has something to pull up and out against. Take a couple deep breaths here. Beautiful, one more. Good. As you come to that bottom of that exhale, slowly tiptoe your fingers back to center. Think nice and long and forward before you exhale, and then tiptoe your fingertips over to the left-hand side, still reaching nice and long in front of you, as well as pulling your right hips behind you this time, down towards your heels, so your arms have an anchor to pull up and out against. So again, nice big breaths here as you settle. Two more just like that. Good, last one. Good, at the bottom of that exhale, slowly come back up to your fingertips, walk them back towards the front of the mat, think nice and long, take one last breath here. And then slowly start to slide your hand back a little bit closer to you so that you can slowly lift yourself up off your heels and come onto all fours. So if you did utilize the block, take that out from underneath, place it in a safe space behind you, and then we'll come into our cat-cows. So again, with our cat-cows, we want to make sure that our wrists are stacked right underneath the shoulders, fingertips slightly turned out, and then our knees stacked right underneath the hips. So we'll start with our cow. Find that nice big inhale as you drop your belly, lift your tailbone, as well as your gaze broad through the chest. And then as you exhale, push the earth away, dome the top of your back, tuck your tailbone and chin underneath. Again, inhale to cow. And then exhale to cat. And then you're going to start to go back and forth between those at your own pace, at the pace of your own breath. Good. We'll find 2 more rounds. Beautiful. As you finish that final cat-cow, you're going to slowly come back into a nice neutral position through your spine. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your left foot and you're going to start to pick that knee up and keep your foot close to your hips. So think about there's like a marker attached to your knee, and you're going to make some big circles with that knee, rolling out those hips. So there's no real right or wrong here. It's just what feels good. We're just bringing some movement into the hips. And then make sure the circles go in the opposite direction as well. Beautiful. And then as you finish up that final circle, we'll plant that knee back down onto the ground. Good. We'll go on to the other side. Your left knee is going to lift up. Keep your heel really close to your hips, and then slowly start to make some big circles in one direction for a few breaths. Good. And then in the opposite direction as well. Good. Gently lower that knee back down into the ground. We'll do one more cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And then exhale, arch the spine for cat. Good. You'll come into a nice neutral spine, and then you'll slowly lower down to your elbows to give your wrists a bit of a break. Once you land, we're going to take that same-ish movement with your left hip to start. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that left knee, and you're going to inhale, draw it over, open to the left. So inhale, open left. And then on that exhale, extend that leg out nice and straight. Beautiful. Inhale, bend the knee. And then exhale, bring it closed. Good. Inhale again, open the knee out to the left. Exhale, extend that leg. Good. Inhale, bend the knee. And then exhale, bring that knee back down towards the floor. Good. We'll do one more just like that. Inhale, open left. Good. Exhale, extend the leg. Good. Inhale, bend the knee. And then exhale, draw it closed. Good. On the other side. On your next inhale, lift the right knee high. Exhale, extend that leg. Inhale, bend that knee. And then exhale again, draw it close. Good. Two more just like that. Inhale, open right. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. And then exhale again as you close. Good. One last time. Inhale, open right. Exhale, extend. Good. Inhale, bend the knee again. And then exhale, bring it to close. Good. If that felt like a lot of work, gently bring a child's pose with your knees closed if that is accessible to you. Take your hands back behind you and give your side hips just a little bit of a tap. Good. You're going to slowly roll back up onto your hands and knees. And then once you arrive, you're just going to walk your hands forward far enough to where you can find either a plank on your knees or plank on your feet. Once you arrive, take a nice big inhale breath, push the earth away, and then exhale, slowly lower down all the way to the floor. Beautiful. From here, you're going to take one hand on top of the other, rest your forehead on top of that, and then bend both knees. Open your knees nice and wide, and then just gently rock your feet side to side. Beautiful. Good. So we're just going to do a little bit of a back extension. We're only going to do 3 today. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your toes touching together behind you, and then you can either have your hands by your side or you can extend them forward, whichever feels best. Know that this is going to be a little bit harder of a movement. And on your next inhale, lift the chest, lift the toes, and then exhale, hold it there. Take another big breath in as you lift a little bit higher before you exhale and lower all the way back down towards the ground. Good. We got 2 more lifts just like that. You have the option of the arms. Inhale again, squeeze and lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, big push. And then exhale, let it go. Good. Last one. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale, extend. Good. Inhale, lift a little bit higher before you exhale and release. Beautiful. We're going to find ourselves with bent knees once more, and then just rock the feet one more time side to side just to help release the lower back. as well as the hips. Good. Whenever you're ready, you're going to take your hands and slowly bring them by your rib cage, rolling the shoulders and elbows back. Tuck your toes behind you, slowly lift yourself all the way up. And you can come back into a child's pose, or you have the option of coming all the way up into your downward facing dog. If you are wanting to take a child's pose before you come into your downward dog, please do so. You can take a breath or two there before meeting us in the downward facing dog whenever you're ready. But for those of us that have already made it to our downward facing dog, start pedaling the heels down one at a time. Good. And once everyone is settled in their downward facing dog, you're going to take a nice big inhale as you look forward towards the front of the mat. And then slowly take some small steps as you walk your feet forward towards the hands. Once the feet make it to the hands, have the feet hip distance apart. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten out the spine as much as you can, roll the shoulders back, and then exhale again, forward fold as you let it all go. Inhale, rise all the way to the top. This time, hands up, look up as you reach. And then exhale, bring your hands down by your sides. Beautiful. Inhale again as you reach the arms up towards the sky. Big exhale as you forward fold and let it all go. Inhale, flat back, halfway lift, lengthen the spine, shoulders back. And then exhale again as you plant your hands, step your feet back into that high plank before you lower down halfway, Chaturanga Dandasana. Roll over the toes as you lift up the chest, upward facing dog or cobra if that better suits your spine. Before you exhale and send your hips all the way up and back into your downward facing dog. Beautiful. Once you arrive, you're going to take that right leg and extend it all the way up towards the sky. Big reach. And then on that exhale, bring that knee towards your nose before stepping the foot forward between the hands. Once that foot lands, you're going to walk your right foot over towards the right hand side of the mat. Walk your left foot over towards the left side of the mat so that the feet feel like they're more on train tracks rather than a tightrope. And then you're going to slowly drop that back knee behind you. Good. Once you're here, this is a great time to utilize the blocks if you feel like you need a little bit more space in order to puff your chest forward and really sink those hips down, because the difference is either here, or if you do utilize the blocks, you have the option of elevating your stance a little bit more so that you can really sink the hips and proud chest forward. So think nice and wide through your collarbone, really sink into the hips. You'll feel a nice big sensation and pressure into that front of that left hip flexor. So allow yourself to breathe nice and big as you can. Do your best to hold. Take about 2 more rounds of breath. Really good. 1 more. Good. And then inhale, slowly start to send all the hips back. Take your time as you start to walk your hands back. If you are using blocks, walk the blocks back with you, and then start to square off your foot. So take that right hand and bring it to the right side of that leg so that your right leg could be more in the center, and still utilize the blocks. If you feel like you need to bring them a little bit higher for that forward fold, do so. But I want you to think, instead of having your pelvis tucked forward, think about really pushing those hips back. You'll feel it in your hamstrings right away. And then from here, take a nice big inhale breath. Keep the spine nice and long. Try not to round through the upper back. And then as you exhale, slowly hinge forward to your capacity and find the half Hanuman or the half split. Really good. 1 more. Take your time to slowly roll yourself back up, and then start to step back into your right foot. Start walking the props or your hands back towards the front. And then if you'd like to push the blocks aside, you don't have to utilize them here if you don't need to. And then tuck the back toe, lift the back knee, plant your hands comfortably so that they fully support the weight of your upper body, and then send that right foot all the way up and back. And maybe shake out the leg before planting it back down towards the ground. Good. We'll continue on the left side. On your next inhale, left leg reaches up nice and high. And then on that exhale, bring that knee towards your nose before stepping it between the hands. Good. So same thing, walk the left foot over towards the left side, right foot over towards the right side so that there's a little bit more space. And then again, drop that back knee. I'm going to utilize the blocks here at the lowest setting. If you need it to be a little bit higher, please do so that you can easily, instead of being here, sink your hips forward, forward, forward as much as you can, and then peel the heart open. Think proud through your collarbone and your chest. Breathe nice and big. Beautiful. One more breath here. Good. From here, take your time. Slowly start to get out of your hips. Whew. Take that left hand, bring it over to the left side of your left foot. Maybe walk that left foot in a little bit more towards your center. Rotate the blocks so that they're at a higher setting. Slowly walk your hands and your props back as you slowly start to elevate your left toes. Once the toes are lifted, again, think back with your booty. And then start to hinge forward with a flat spine. Pull the belly in to support your lower back. Breathe nice and big. Half Hanuman on the left. Really good. One more breath. Before you slowly start to peel your upper body back up. Start to flatten the foot back towards the front as you start bending back into that left knee. Walk your hands and your props forward. Move them aside if you don't need them here. Tuck the back toes. Elevate the back knee. Take that left foot all the way up and back. Give that leg a nice big shake. Before gently placing that foot back down onto the mat. You're going to inhale, roll the spine forward into a nice strong plank. And then exhale, lower down halfway. Inhale, tuck the toes as you lift up the chest for upward facing. Keep your shoulders far from the ears. And then exhale, tuck your toes and send the hips all the way back into your downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take a nice big breath here. Look forward towards the front of the mat. And then exhale, end up on your hands and knees. Good. From here, you're going to take that right leg and extend it open towards your right side. I'm going to rotate my position so that it's a little bit easier to see. And then once you have that, make sure that the right foot stays nice and flat on the earth. And then maybe walk your foot a little bit farther out so that you're not just sitting directly over that left hip anymore. You're actually opening up over towards the right. Good. Once you have that position and that leg is just going as far as your body will allow it to go, and then you're going to slowly come down to your elbows to give your wrists a bit of a break. And then from here, just sit your hips back a little bit. And you'll feel it in your thighs, inner thighs right away. So breathe here. A rocking sensation is really helpful here. You can inhale forward and then exhale back. Exhale on the heart. Good. Just see if you can maintain the position for 3 more breaths. Good. Gently shift your weight back into a nice forward or neutral position. Walk back up to your hands. And then walk your hands back towards the left leg. Walk your foot back as well. And then you're going to slowly bend the right knee back into the tabletop position. So again, from here, all we have to do is extend the left leg over towards the left side. Toes are still pointing forward. And then you're going to start walking that foot over to that side as far as it'll go comfortably. And then slowly lower down to your elbows. Once you arrive on elbows, we're just not going to stay here. Take a nice big breath in. And then on the exhale, slowly hinge your hips back. If you'd like to go back and forth between those positions, that's great. If you feel like you can hold in that back position, that is great also. Do what feels right for you. Let's see if you can hold this for 3 more breaths. Good. Now, once you finish that final third breath, you're going to slowly shift your weight back forward. Take your time coming back up to your hands, and then slowly walk your hands back as you bend that left knee back into a neutral position. Beautiful. So you should be right here in your tabletop position. Maybe take another cat-cow to reset. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, and then exhale, round it out. Good. Come back into a nice neutral spine, and then rotate yourself down so that you are now on the floor. Good. Pollen, sorry, springtime. That's what happens up here in the mountains. But once you arrive to your comfortable seat, just rotating for a better view, what you're going to do is you're going to gently lean back into your hands for support, and you're going to take that right foot and cross it over that left knee. Once you have that nice figure four when you're looking at your legs, you're going to flex that right ankle to help support that right knee before you slowly take that left foot and bring it up so that the right shin is getting closer and closer to your chest. You'll start feeling it in your right glute. So if this feels like a lot of pressure on the wrists and you have issues with wrists, what you can do is you can decrease the amount of bend in that knee so that you can actually lift yourself up and maybe wrap your arms around that left leg. Good. So this is a really good one for that piriformis. If you have sciatic pain, you sit a lot, you drive a lot, this is a really good one. So maintain your breath as best you can as you hold this for a total of 8 counts, or 8 breaths. Yeah, we're about halfway there, so 4 more big breaths. Three more. Beautiful, last 2. So good, last one. Good, you're gonna take your hands and gently lean back, support yourself. Slowly walk the left foot back out nice and straight. Uncross that right ankle and give your legs a nice big shake before you come onto the left. So on your left side, take that left ankle, cross it over that right knee. Slowly start to inch that right foot closer to you without the anticipation that it's gonna be the same. If this is your dominant leg, it might be a little bit tighter, so be kind. So again, adjust the position as much as you need for you to either sit up or support yourself behind, whatever works best for you, and find those 8 counts of breath. Good, and we're halfway there. So good, final 3. Good, 2 more. Beautiful, last one. Good, gently release the grasp as you finish that final exhale. Take your right foot and gently inch it out forward. Uncross the legs, give them a nice big shake. Good, and then what you're gonna do here is you're gonna take your feet, open them up nice and wide onto the mat with your knees bent, and then just gently take your knees side to side, focusing on the knee that's turning inwards. So we call these 90-90s. If this is too easy, you have the option of doing it without the hand support. But either way, we're still focusing on the knee that turns inwards. Good. Once you finish those 90-90 rocks, you're going to gently extend the legs out in front of you. Make sure that one of the blocks is within reach. And then you're going to slowly lower yourself all the way down onto your mat. Once you arrive onto your mat, you're going to take that beautiful block, take it to the skinny side, and you're going to place it right in between the thighs so that you can actively squeeze the blocks, turning on your external glutes. And then you're going to place your feet really close to your hips and then bring your hands down to meet your heels. Once you have the position, tuck the shoulder blades underneath so you feel a nice flat platform against the upper back. And on your next inhale, roll the hips all the way up towards the sky. Find that exhale as you hold it there. Keep squeezing the block. Take another big breath in as you lift a little bit higher before you exhale and roll your hips all the way back down towards the earth. Really good. We are going to do a total of 3 more after that last one, so a total of 4. So on your next inhale, squeeze and lift for number 2. Exhale, hold it there. Use your inhale to lift a little bit higher. And then exhale again as you lower and let it go. Beautiful. 2 more. Inhale again, squeeze and lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale again as you lift. And then exhale again as you lower. Beautiful. 1 last time. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale again, lift a little bit higher before exhaling and rolling the spine all the way back down towards the earth. Once you hips land, you can ditch the block and then take your time to slowly bend the knees into your chest. Once your knees are hugged into your chest, you're just going to make some big circles to gently roll things out. For this next portion, if you do have a wall that you can actually scoot your booty right up against, that's a nice way to go about it. But if you do not feel like moving off your mat, the other option is to find a happy baby. So if you have your hands, you're going to grab the outsides of your feet and just gently press down, knees towards armpits. Make sure your toes are still pointing in the same direction as those knees. If you do have a wall, what you're going to do is you're going to plant your feet onto the wall and then open up your feet and your knees nice and wide. Try to bring your heels close to you and then utilize the wall to find that malasana squat, that yogi squat. So the great option here is if you are utilizing the wall, you can just plant your feet wherever they land and then take your arms and place them onto the insides of your thighs to gently help them open. You can do the same thing in your happy baby. It could be right here. It might feel a little bit different going into your lower back a little bit, but know that either way, it is still good for hips and it will still come into your lower back just a bit, just a smidge. So if you are in happy baby, you have the option to gently rock. If you're against the wall, just breathe nice and big. Good, and see if you can breathe for 3 more breaths right here, wherever you are. Beautiful, 2 more. So good, last one. Good. If you are up against the wall, all you have to do is release those arms and then gently bring the knees to close and then just extend your feet right up against the wall. For everyone else that is not utilizing the wall, you can just hug your knees into your chest. Gently rock side to side. That's what feels good. Good. And if you did scoot yourself up against the wall, please take yourself away from the wall so that you can fully extend the legs again. And what you will do is we're going to come back to that block. We're going to lift our hips into that bridge, and then we're going to slide that block right underneath your hips. So think butt, that flat part of your butt, your sacrum, rather than your lower back or your thighs. So I want your butt to feel fully supported and stable on that block. You can do 2 side by side if you feel like that's going to give you a little bit better support. And then slowly open up the legs and reach them nice and long. Good. This helps to open up the front of the hip flexors. I like to call this position the anti-chair because it kind of does the opposite of what a chair does to you, which is fold you at your hips. So allow yourself to keep your hips nice and broad. Let your toes turn out to the sides. If you feel like a full upper body stretch would also like to be added to this, you can take your arms up overhead and settle here for a couple of breaths. Good. We'll take one more big breath in. And one last big breath out. Before we gently release the arms back down to our sides. Bend the knees one at a time. Elevate the hips to release the block before slowly rolling our hips back down towards the earth. For our final one, we'll just have our feet together, our knees together, and our knees and our hands will work in unison. So on your next inhale, you'll reach the arms all the way up overhead as the knees open out to the side. And then as you exhale, bring the arms back to neutral as you close the knees. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, open the knees, butterfly pose, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms down, knees close. Beautiful. One more time, arms up overhead, open knees. And then exhale again, closed. Good. You may take your Shavasana right here, especially if you have SI joint pain or any pain in the hips, by opening your feet up nice and wide and just knocking your knees in together. If it does feel okay to extend the legs, please do so. Palms facing up to help roll the shoulders open, rotate the shoulders open naturally. But if you feel like you're a little bit, you feel like you need a little bit of support energetically in this position, you can take one hand over the heart and one hand over the belly. This is where we finish our practice in our Shavasana, letting go of our breath, letting that come back to its natural pace and rhythm, and just taking the time to check back in with what our hips were able to release today and what kind of tension you noticed. Not only physically in the hips, but also emotionally in the body. So as you take one final moment to reflect, allow yourself to visualize the thoughts that are coming and going without getting too involved, giving yourself the opportunity to become the observer of your thoughts. Because once we can step away from being overly involved in our thoughts and overly judgmental, just pay attention and watch what comes up in silence. Because maybe through stillness, and maybe through that observation, we can discover something that we haven't noticed about ourselves. So as we take one last moment with our thoughts, we'll invite a nice long breath in to awaken the body before taking a nice long exhale and letting everything else go. Slowly invite movement back into the body, maybe wiggling fingers, maybe wiggling toes. And as you take your next breath in, if a full stretch does call to you today, extend both arms up overhead, reach through your toes, lengthen through your body, reach, reach, reach. Before you exhale, and let it all go. Take your time to slowly bend the knees as you roll over to your favorite side. Take a couple more minutes just to be with yourself in that active rest, in that moment of reflection, before you slowly come up to your comfortable seat. Once you arrive back to your seat, find that easy cross or legs extended, whatever comfortable seat looks like for you. Take one hand over the heart, one hand over the belly. Take one more big breath in, filling yourself up with everything that you might need. And then a final exhale to let it all go. Finding gratitude, thank you so much for allowing me to guide your practice today, from my heart to yours. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you at the next one.